Welcome to a Celtic State of Mind. Today I'm joined by Kevin Graham, Declan McConville and Paddy McGilp. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Declan, I believe you've got a wee bit of product placement there with your T-shirt. Can we get a look at that, please?
Yes. Matt's number 9 T-shirt.
Is that a Matt McGlone original, is it?
It's a Matt McGlone original on sale just now.
Good stuff. I thought it was either that or you might have nabbed it for your dad, who was probably around when we did this the last time, 9 in a row. Declan, what's your reaction, mate?
I'm delighted. I'm buzzing for Neil and the players, and I'm just really happy for everybody connected with the club. You know, it's an unprecedented achievement, and something I never even thought, growing up a Celtic supporter, I would ever get to see.
Kevin, you come from a similar era to myself, and we mentioned Matt. Matt was obviously very active in the early 90s when Celtic were facing dark times. How incredible is it now to look back on where we were, to be sitting here after having won 9 league titles in a row for the second time in our history?
I was thinking about this as part of the video club when we've been watching videos for the early 90s. And if somebody says to me, when Fergus comes in, 2020, we're going to be sitting on 9 titles in a row, won the previous 11 trophies, nobody would have believed them. Nobody would have believed them whatsoever. So to be sitting here today, now obviously, I would rather be at Celtic Park. I would rather be winning it on the pitch. We'll have won it on the pitch, let's get that clear, but I would rather be in the stadium. I would rather be, this is my daughter's first year with a season ticket as well, so we've sort of missed that out as well. I would rather be all the guys for the Tommy Gemmell bus as well, stopping for just being it's gone absolutely mad. But it's taken a wee while to sink in, and I didn't think I would feel as emotional as what I have, even though when the texts started coming through to say that's it, done and dusted, it was just like yes. And obviously Celtic have done a good job with highlight reels and that have been appearing on social media and just reminding some of the pivotal moments of this season where even though we've not had that emotional reaction of actually that final whistle going, I mean, who can forget the Ayers goal against Aberdeen, Scott Brown scoring in the last minute against Hamilton, Christopher Jullien scoring at New Douglas Park, which was greeted like a winning goal in a Champions League game. And we've had so many great moments in the season, and I mean, to win 26 games out of 30, we deserve it. And we've had a decade of dominance, and Neil Lennon was the man who started it by saying this is not the end, it's the beginning, and the words ring very, very true today. Definitely do.
We'll have a look over the last 9 years, and we'll have a look at the impact. Neil Lennon version 1 and 2. Paddy, you're from a younger generation like your pal Declan there. When you heard the news this morning, how did you react? Because I know that Declan went and got a carry-out.
Yeah, I think we're all heading for the shots for a carry-out when we first heard. Obviously been coming for a while, but absolutely over the moon to finally get it done and dusted after all these inquiries and EGMs that have been taking place from other clubs. But again, something I never thought I'd see when I first started going to see Celtic. You hear about the stories from Jock Stein and back in the day, but absolutely over the moon.
I remember when we went back to the early 90s, Kevin, I think 9 in a row would be about 9 points in a row. That would be an achievement back then. But we're now sitting here. And then everything we were raised on, you know, the Lisbon Lions, the Quality Street Gang, Jock Stein, and what they achieved. Obviously, we've never gone as far as that team went back in the 1960s and 70s. But on a domestic level, it could be argued, Kevin, that we've done even better in terms of the trophies won. And people may argue that the actual challenge back then was far stronger. But, I mean, you can only play, obviously, the teams that are put in front of you. And if you win the league and a certain team aren't in the league, it means just as much, certainly for me. What about all this talk of asterisks, not asterixes, but asterisks, and all that carry on? I had an interesting conversation, Kevin, the other day with Phil Differ, who says, well, if you're going to put an asterisk next to Celtic's name, you need to put one next to every name in the league. because every league placing has been decided by that same reasoning. What's your thoughts on all this chat around the Scottish media about denoting the fact that this is a tainted title?
That's just absolute rubbish that it's a tainted title. Anytime these things are donated next to anything, it's because something's happened. And this has been unprecedented what's actually happened this season. And it's not as if we were 5 games into the season, 6 games into the season. We're 30 games into the season. And it's deflection. It's a deflection tactic for other clubs' failures. Deflection tactics to appeal to the mentalist element of Scottish football, who don't think we deserve it, who can't handle that we've won 11 trophies in a row when they've been supposedly back and meant to be putting a challenge up to us. So for me, it's just a hot air, white noise. Doesn't take away for the achievement whatsoever. We would have won it over the 38 games anyway. I mean, it was interesting. Neil Lennon's just done an interview, and he's actually says that he was planning on taking the team away at the end of April. Mm-hmm. So the club had prepared for us winning the league by the end of April. The other ones as well, our rivals and that, they admitted that the Scottish Cup was their best chance to win anything. And now they can forever say, oh, we might have caught them. Well, I might have been a good footballer when I was younger. I wasn't. I might have been a decent runner. I wasn't. It's an argument. It's a non-argument. It really is a real non-argument. And it's the same with the teams that are getting relegated. To win 4 games in a calendar year, you deserve to get relegated. For me, it's a non-issue.
It becomes embarrassing when you've had a season like that, Kevin, and you're trying to argue the toss legally to stay in the league. When it's all down to your own performance, and there's no doubt about that whatsoever. I mean, with regards to where we go from here, we've equalled Celtic's own record of 9. The 10 in a row after the season that we've just had, and after the actual pandemic that we're still living through, Kevin, where does that leave us for next year? Is 10 in a row still the focus, or should be Celtic be focusing on bigger issues in relation to where we're going to be playing our football long term?
It's extremely difficult we don't know what the landscape is going to look like when we eventually get back to kicking footballs about. The Bundesliga came back up at the weekend there, and I watched half of one game, and football fans is completely nothing. It's just a bunch of millionaires kicking a ball about, and it's extremely difficult. Scottish football relies on fans for money, and for games to come back behind closed doors, a lot of clubs are not going to be able to handle that. They're not going to have the finances to cover that. So, of course, our focus has to be 9 in a row to start off with. But where does a longer-term future lie? And I don't think. I mean, you have to have a look You have to have a look at England. They're going to lose billions if they can't finish their league. And you look at, there'll be clubs go out of business down there as well if we have to play games behind closed doors. In the Scottish game, we already know there's going to be clubs go out of business. So it'll be interesting to see if there is discussions going on in the background, because this is Europe-wide. And if there's been any opposition to leagues, cross-border leagues, I think that's going to be rapidly disappearing when clubs see massive holes in their bank balances.
Declan, Paddy, you guys have obviously grown up in an era where Celtic have dominated. Are you quite happy that Celtic's future lies in Scotland, or do you think as a result of the situation that we're in, you'd be quite happy to look at other options, be that cross-border or a league which is a transatlantic league?
I enjoy following Celtic across Scotland. I enjoy going to venues like Pittodrie, Tynecastle. Well, we won't be going to Tynecastle for a wee while, maybe. Easter Road. So I would like Celtic to continue to dominate in Scottish football, but there becomes a point maybe in European football where we wonder where our land really lies, because in recent seasons, yes, we had a good campaign this season, getting to the point of the last 32 of the Europa League. But the competition in our league, I think, deters us from being a better side, especially when it comes to the financial side of the game. So whether that lies in the future in European leagues or whatever, could be positive in terms of European football, but for the time being, I think like any Celtic supporter, we all want the Holy Grail 10 in a row.
Now, Paddy, when we go further back, we had a situation where when Martin O'Neill was in charge, obviously, we reached a European final for the third time in the club's history, and always look back on his own kind of upbringing and his time at Nottingham Forest, playing under the great Brian Clough. He knew how to win a European trophy, 1-2 on the bounce with Nottingham Forest. Martin O'Neill then got us to a final, and that bloodline of European heritage was passed down to Neil Lennon, who obviously played at Seville. Do you think, having seen the performances this season, particularly against Lazio, but overall, that Neil Lennon might be able to craft a Celtic side that can continue to improve and develop in European football?
I certainly think so. I actually thought we were going to go further than what we did this season. I thought we were very unfortunate against Copenhagen, especially in the second leg. I thought we could have made a real mark this season in Europe. And obviously the landscape's going to totally change after this pandemic. But no, I definitely think that Neil Lennon's the man to take us forward.
That's a good point. And I think what we need to remember, having wrapped up the 9th league title in succession, is the other managers that have contributed to that. Obviously, Neil Lennon started it, and many have said that we've got a kind of upgraded version of Neil Lennon since he's come back. But we've got to remember the contribution of Ronnie Dyler and a certain Brendan Rodgers, who have also contributed to this. On days like today, Kevin, it's easy to forget the kind of the bad blood that we had maybe with Brendan Rodgers when he left. Is it easy for that just to wash over you, because it shows that Celtic, the support and our achievements are bigger than one man?
Definitely. I think any bitterness I've got to Brendan Rodgers has now disappeared. He gave us an invincible treble. He gave us a double treble, and he made his choice and left when he wanted to leave. That's always going to be a slight on his Celtic legacy, but his legacy is, it was 7 and 8. Well, no, sorry, 6 and 7. So it's, you can't take that away. And just to say that you can't take Ronnie Dyler's away as well, that a lot of the guys who became invincible, a lot of guys who have won 11 trophies in a row came through under Ronnie Dyler as well. So it's all part of the jigsaw, and we've got to appreciate that. We've got to appreciate that Brendan Rodgers. He's just put me off there. You've got to appreciate that Brendan Rodgers dragged the level of the club up to Premiership level, up to elite level. And Neil Lennon has benefited from that, and us as a support have benefited from that as well. So we can't just disregard his achievement just because he had naked ambition.
Now, when you look at the captain of the first 9 in a row team, Billy McNeill, the late great Billy McNeill, and you look at the modern day captain Declan and Scott Brown, I don't think anybody could deny the fact that Scott Brown is a Celtic legend. What he's achieved over the last 9 years, sometimes in adversity, has been quite incredible. How impressed have you been with his leadership qualities since Neil Lennon came back?
Undoubtedly impressed by him, because with the circumstances that Brendan left the club and going to Tynecastle on that Wednesday evening, that could have really dictated how our season then progressed towards 8 in a row. Whereas Scott obviously was one of the first guys that I think Neil would have went to and looked for his leadership, and looked to ask him questions about the team and the structure of the club and how it was. And I think Scott's mark in 9 consecutive trophies in a row is just as good as Billy McNeill's in terms of Scottish League Championships. It's phenomenal. And Scott will forever go down as a Celtic legend.
Paddy, has he been your captain basically for your duration of actually going to watch the game, Scott Brown?
Yeah, apart from 1 or 2 games as a 5 and 6 year old, Scott Brown has always been Celtic captain for as long as I've been going to the games. He's definitely a club legend and arguably our second best captain behind us. Really.
Kevin?
Aye, I'm having a nightmare here. 2 seconds.
Lenny's in Sky Sports with a pair of earphones in, by the way. I don't know where he is. Look.
What was that, Declan?
I said he's in Sky Sports now. I don't know where he is, but he's standing with a trophy, look.
Brilliant. I can see him.
I don't know where he is. He's got a pair of...
Somebody just shouted in the background there, you've just gone out to 1,000 people on the internet. Brilliant. I mean, a Zoom call isn't a Zoom call unless there's a pair of cats fighting or something in the background, eh? So
exactly.
Thanks for that. We can roll with that. And the experience of watching Declan getting pissed on his bed wearing his socks will never leave me. I mean, this is going to be the undying memory of 9 in a row, Kevin. Welcome back.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Sorry about that.
It's quite all right. We were just having a look around Declan's bedroom and the fact that Neil Lennon was being interviewed on Sky Sports there, just as we were discussing him. But massive credit for Neil Lennon, the way that he's come in, the way that he settled a team that could have crumbled at that time. And he gave them a bit of kind of solidity. But also when you look at this season, Kevin, you look at the fact that he's managed to get Lee Griffiths back into the first team. Not only that, managed to get him back up to a level where he started scoring goals again. Do you think Neil Lennon gets the credit he deserves for the man management ability that he undoubtedly possesses?
No, probably not. Everybody, and probably including myself, thought it was a downgrade on Brendan Rodgers, and that's no any slight to Neil Lennon whatsoever. I always go back to one thing that you tell me, Paul, that what Danny McGrain says to you. And Danny McGrain says to you that Neil Lennon is just as good a coach as what Brendan Rodgers is, but he's just not as fashionable. Mm-hmm. He doesn't use the right words. He doesn't use modern terms. He's a bit old school, but he's a firmly modern manager. And the way that he's embraced what Rodgers has left with the analytics, the backroom staff, the sports science and stuff like that, everything that was set up after he's left Celtic shows that he's developed as a manager, he's improved as a manager. But you listen to what Virgil van Dijk says about him and other guys. He's a great motivator. He's a great man manager. Van Dijk credits Neil Lennon by getting him on the right path, by telling him that he wasn't fit enough, by telling him that he had to do more. So obviously he's the type of character that is going to fall out with people. He's passionate, but then most football managers do, because you can only play 11 guys. So there is going to be guys that are going to like him and dislike him, take to him, and it's the same as any workplace whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But where Neil's really came into his own, and I think this was proven when he came back in February last season, was to get that team over the line last season and do another treble was fantastic. That was testament to his man management skills. And this season as well, to kick on the way that we've done, won 26 games out of 30, won the last 11 available trophies. I mean, he's won the last 4 trophies available to him. He's come into a very successful side, a team of winners, and he has improved them. We've scored more goals this season than what we've done in the last couple of seasons. We've lost less goals. I mean, of course we've got to give him the credit. It'd be churlish not to give him the credit that I think he actually deserves.
And also Celtic have looked, for me, a far better side in Europe under Neil Lennon than they ever did under Brendan Rodgers, because of Lennon's adaptability. Now, looking forward to next season, Declan, what is Neil Lennon looking to do with this team? How's he going to freshen it up? What will he be looking to bring in to a successful Celtic side to ensure that we can continue with that success?
I think one of the questions that is maintained this season is a back 4 or back 3. Whether or not the guys that we've got there are solid enough to play in a back 3, especially in the European stage. It worked after January. I thought it worked really well, but what are kind of the back three that he seems to have went with Beaton, Julian and Ayers going to be the back three, or Jozo is questionable. The two full-backs positions maybe could be one. I know a lot of people have been a bit doubtful in the left-back position. But I think if you can keep a hold of Hudson Edward, if you can get Fraser Foster back in permanently or on another loan deal, and maybe look at another winger. I don't know if Mohamed Elanusi will be a permanent fit, but as long as we can get somebody in those positions, again, at the back could be somewhere I would like to strengthen. But again, it'll be eyes on the prize for title 10, which seems miraculous to be seen at this point in time.
Paddy, obviously, if we were going to the games as normal, we'll all be celebrating, hopefully, a quadruple treble, never mind the 9 in a row. How, as a Celtic fan base worldwide, can we celebrate this monumental celebration of 9 league titles in a row? How are we actually going to celebrate when we can't meet up and have a drink and celebrate the normal way?
I think Declan showcased that for us today by getting on a Zoom call and getting drunk in your bedroom. But I suppose there's not much else we can do. I think there's a few people being slightly irresponsible when gathering at Celtic Park, which I don't think is the safest thing to do. But no, I think we'll all be fairly content in our houses, having a few drinks and looking at the comments on Twitter from rival fans across Glasgow.
Kevin, when was the last time you were in your socks in your bedroom getting pished?
Probably when I was about 13. I've got that. Fair play to Declan. I've noticed quite a few guys who have already went out and got the carryouts. There's a guy actually stays in my street who's just walked down my street with a number 9 balloon. I don't know where he's gone, So fair play to everybody. I noticed folk are putting flags out and all of that. I'm just quite happy. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying having a blather about the Celtic with guys for the podcast, and we have to make the best of it. It probably will only happen once in our lifetime anyway. So we've got to make the best of it. And let's not forget, when they talk about teams losing stuff because of this pandemic, our players and us as a support have lost the greatest. We've lost the chance to celebrate this in the ground. We've probably lost a chance of a quadruple treble. And our players have lost the chance of that. And so when all these folk are bleating and moaning about, yous have got nothing to lose, we've lost the most in all of this. So we need to enjoy it.
Absolutely, Kevin. Now, gentlemen, I hope you all enjoy your evening and enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll catch up with you sometime soon on a Celtic State of Mind.